dealing with the issues, al-ulama rahimahumullah, they say people are 4 types, concluding with this piece of information. They said, number 1, there is a person that is displeased with the difficulties in life. Such a person, Allah is displeased with him. Number 2, and being displeased is haram. Number 2, as-sabru ala al-adha fi sabilillah. And that's wajib. That any difficulty you face in life, you have to be patient. That is bottom. This is bottom line for a believer. That is wajib. What does sabr mean? Sabr means that you say, inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Right? Allah Azza wa Jalla says, وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. That's the bare minimum, sabr. And sabr means that you do not react in a way displeasing to Allah. So if someone was to die in the family, for example, and not having sabr is to begin to question why him, and to cry and to wail and to scream and to rip the hair out and so on. That would be no sabr, right? Someone went through a difficulty, a financial difficulty, loses the plot on people, blames this person, swears here. There is no sabr, right? فَإِذَا sabr means that you do not react in a way that is displeasing to Allah Azza wa Jal. Sabr, just hold yourself back and acknowledge this is from Allah. وَحَسْبُنَ اللَّهُ وَنِعْمَ الْوَكِيلُ, and that's it. طيب. There's a level higher than this, which is ar-rida, being pleased with the difficulty. Wal-rida is not wajib. Ar-rida mustahab, as al-ulama rahimahumullah they said. As-sabr wajib. Innama ar-rida, being pleased, that's a difficulty. Not everyone can get there. That's a difficult level, not everyone can get there. What does it mean to be pleased? You might say, how am I going to be pleased with a difficulty in life? Let's say it was a sickness Allah gave you. How am I going to be pleased with that? For example, when someone is in pain and takes medicine, isn't he pleased with the medicine he takes? So there is this kind of idea in where you're able to be pleased with pain and difficulty. Being pleased, rida, would mean that whether the difficulty happened or not, it's the same to you. That's being pleased. You see that? For example, give you an example. La samah Allah, may Allah Azza wa Jal protect our children all. But if a child was to die, rida would mean that whether he's still alive or dead, it's the same to me. Hadha rida, being pleased. Because the bottom line, he was from Allah to begin with. Allah Azza wa Jal took him. Right? Hadha rida. That you see the problems in life, them happening in your life and not happening is both the same to you. Shuf rida, that's a high level. Not everyone can get there. Now there's higher than this. There's higher than this. There's one more step above all of this. And this only ibadullah as-salihin can get there. This is how Yunus alayhi salam got there. Or Ibrahim alayhi salam. Or Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and the companions and everyone, this is how they got there. And that level above is hamdullahi wa shukruhu ala al-bala. To thank Allah for al-bala. To be grateful to Allah for the difficulty. As though you're saying when the difficulty came, that you say, Alhamdulillah, Allah gave me this test. What kind of level is this? This is high level stuff. Not everyone can get there. High level. This is why the first ayah we read in the Quran, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. To get to the proper hamd of Allah is that when Allah Azza wa Jal gives you a calamity and a difficulty in life, that not only you're patient with it, what am I going to do? Not only that, and then not only you're pleased, whether it happened, it didn't happen, it's both the same, that kind of attitude, which is high. To say Alhamdulillah for this difficulty. One of the Salaf rahimahumullah once, he had an injury in his finger. A friend of his saw him. He said to him, Muhammad, there's an injury in your finger. Why haven't you reacted to it yet? So he said to him, Naam, there is an injury in my finger. So he said to him, but imagine it was in my face. Imagine it was in my nose. Imagine it was in my eye. Imagine it was in my ear. Imagine it was inside of me. For the friend of his, he said, for this person, kept on telling me, imagine it was he, until I thought that the most beautiful thing that has happened to this person was an injury in his finger. The idea of the person saying that, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, look where I got it, a gift from Allah. can you do that with difficulties in life? To look at your difficulty and to say, Alhamdulillah, it wasn't in this. Alhamdulillah, it wasn't in my deen. Alhamdulillah, it wasn't in the fact that I stopped my salat altogether. It's a big bala. Urwa ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he was out in a travel and he had contracted a virus in his leg, and the disease was beginning to form, and the only solution back in the time was to amputate the leg. So they had to amputate it. Khalas, there was no question in that. So they said to him, we need to amputate it. Drink some alcohol so that you're intoxicated, because this is how they used to, what's it called, the anesthetic. Anesthetic back in the time was alcohol. You drink until you're drunk down, and then they perform whatever surgery they can perform at the time. So he refused. I'm not going to drink it. He said, rather, I'm going to pray. When I get into sujood, then amputate my leg. So he began to pray. He got into sujood and they amputated his leg. Of course, with the difficulty, he fell unconscious. So they beginning to heal the wound for him, and he's still unconscious. As he's unconscious, he has two sons. Urwa ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu is a companion. This is after the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Two of his sons. They were on their way to him. And as they're coming on their way on a horse, one of his sons was killed by the horse. He fell off, the horse kicked him, it resulted in injuries, his son died. Allahu Akbar, shuf al-musibah. From nowhere, two of the most difficult things in life had happened to him in one time. So the people that were coming with that kind of, with that kind of group, they arrived to where Urwa ibn Mas'ud is. When they arrived, some of them said, should we inform him or not that his son died? But he just lost his leg. What are we going to inform him? Some said, don't inform him of anything. He's in a difficulty now. We'll wait for a few days, then we'll inform him. And some said, la, he has to pray on his son and he has to bury him. That's his son. We have to inform him. Khalas, they agreed to inform him. So when he regained consciousness, he saw his leg, he's missing a leg. And he's got one leg. They came and they informed him. And no, your son had died on his way here. A horse kicked him and he died. So he said, Shuf, subhanallah, to teach you the four types, where he was. The first thing he said, Alhamdulillah, oh Allah, you gave me 2 feet, 2 legs, you took one and you left one. And you gave me 2 sons, you took one and you left one. فَلَكَ الْحَمْدُ عَلَى مَا أَخَذْتَ وَمَا أَعْطَيْتَ. To you belongs alhamd for whatever you gave and for whatever you took. And that's how he dealt with his problem. Finished. Alhamdulillah subhanahu wa ta'ala ala al-bala. Then look where we began. We began with the lesson of people not being able to deal with their problems, want a closure to their problems. And look where we ended. We ended in the highest level a person can have, and that is to observe the difficulties as a ni'mah min Allah, worth to be thanked. To the point where you say Alhamdulillah for it. Next time you read Surah Al-Fatiha in your salat and you read Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Don't just thank Allah in good times. Even that's a good blessing. But the challenge for you and I is to thank Allah in the most difficult of times. Now that is an achievement. Now you've reached something. Now you've got to something. Now you'll feel the sweetness of Alhamdulillah. You'll feel it in those moments. Wallahu a'lam. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give us patience, to give us ar-rida, to give us the ability to thank Him during times of difficulties and hardships.